Welcome to Take 5, another 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. In the book of Daniel, in chapter 1, we read about some young men. Daniel was one of them. And they were chosen to be prepared for service in the king of Babylon's royal palace, which sounds like an honor. It sounds like something a young man might have aspired to. That was most certainly not the case. These young men were eunuchs. And the reason that they were mutilated and emasculated was that a king, a despot, would not want to surround himself with potential rivals who could create a power base and then create a dynasty of their own. So he had to surround himself, his most entrusted servants had to be those who could never father children themselves. And that's why Daniel is in this training program. So he is a slave, and he's had everything taken away from him. His nation of Israel has been taken away from him. It no longer exists. It's now part of the Babylonian Empire. His religion, all the worship in the temple that he was raised to be part of, because these young men were either from the nobility or the royal family of Israel. You know what? It's gone. The temple's destroyed. The Ark of the Covenant, nobody knows where it is anymore. Even his very name was taken away from him. He was no longer allowed to be called Daniel, his Hebrew name. He was given a new Babylonian name, Belteshazzar. His freedom was taken away from him. His very manhood was taken away from him. Daniel must have felt like there wasn't a single area in his life where he could assert his authority and his dignity as a human being. And what happened in that training program was they were given a special diet of food. Choice cuts of meat, everything that was designed to make a young man grow healthy and look the part in the king's household. And in Daniel chapter 1 verse 8 it says, Daniel resolved in his heart that he would not defile himself with the king's food, because this food was unclean. It was not prepared according to the Jewish laws. And even though the temple was gone, and even though the Ark of the Covenant was gone, as far as Daniel was concerned, he was still a child of God. So he purposed in his heart. Perhaps you identify with Daniel today. Perhaps you feel like a lot of things that are beyond your power have restricted you. I know a lot of people right now are feeling angry and feeling frustrated because they feel like they've become prisoners in their own homes. They feel like they're not allowed to work at their jobs anymore. They feel they're not even allowed to go to church anymore. All because of this virus, which was nothing to do with them in the first place. It's understandable that people would feel like that. But Daniel focused in on the one thing that he could change. You know, the only thing he had freedom over was what he put in his mouth, what he ate. And yet he said, it might only be a small area of my life, but I'm going to stand on this thing. I'm purposing in my heart. I want to encourage you today, purpose in your heart. Purpose in your heart that you are going to keep a right spirit. Purpose in your heart that you are going to serve God. Purpose in your heart that today you're going to receive from his word. You're going to commune with him in prayer. You're going to be a blessing to the people that are round about you. Maybe a lot of these other choices have been taken away, but they cannot dictate to you that you will start living like an orphan instead of living like the child of a king that you are. So be blessed today. Purpose in your heart that you will live like the child of God that you are. May God bless you. May God keep you safe, keep you blessed. And please join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, a 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.